Welcome back to my channel. Now, I know once a nurse, always a nurse, and that we're never going to stop being nurses or other professional caregivers. But at some point, there is going to come a time where one day you're going to leave active practice and perhaps retire from the profession you love so much. At least maybe reduce it or practice in a very different way. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about preparing for when that happens. So there are 3 ways to start to prepare for your eventual retirement. You can prepare your career, you can certainly prepare your finances, and you can start preparing your health. So let's start with preparing your career. You can't start early enough to prepare your career for aging into your career because, trust me, it goes by fast. I cannot believe that I'm practicing 41 years. I mean, that just is mind-blowing. But it does happen and it goes by quickly. So when you think you have a little bit more time to prepare or a little bit more time to get some academic ducks in a row, you probably don't. So I would advise you to start thinking, about the direction your career is going, by year 6 or 7, but no later than year 10. And I even say that if you are trying to have a family, somewhere in there, really early on start to challenge yourself and put your toe in the water of a lot of different things, because let's face it, right now anyway, all right, in 2019, you have several choices. You can stay clinical by the bedside, you can go into advanced practice, you can go into middle management, you can go into executive leadership, and you can go into education, whether that's hospital or facility based or academia. You can certainly do some private practice things, and then you could take your career in a very, very different direction, as I have, and become a professional coach. There's a variety of different things open to you, but you don't usually turn those keys overnight. It takes a significant amount of planning to be prepared to kind of make sure that you're taking your career in the direction that will feed your soul for your entire career. So you want to challenge yourself, lean into opportunities, make sure you take your turn at being in charge. And try precepting, don't back away from that. Try to ask for some stretch assignments. See if there's a collaborative care committee that you can get into to see if quality might be something that you want to look into. Customer service may be something that you want to be looking at. You might be very, very gifted at working through patient complaints or any kind of risk management issues. Don't be afraid to try your first middle management position, in a sense of having that as a jumping off point for either education or upper management and executive management. But you want to do these things within those first 10 years, and not just do one, but do a couple if you can, so that you have a sense of, okay, now, if I haven't already started my a master's prepared program, or have a sense of where I'm going to go, what direction I'm going to take this career, that you can now decide to have a definite strategy for what's going on. You want to pay attention then to your academics, so that you can age gracefully into your career. And for all of my colleagues at AORN, there's going to be coming a time when you're in your late 50s, that standing for a 3 or 4 hour case is a real stretch. I mean, you can still do it, obviously, but there's a price to be paid. So to keep your academic ducks in a row and your experiences commensurate with aging gracefully into your career, you have to take some diverse assignments so that you are that much more marketable, and you have that many more skills in order to offer a potential position that will not be as taxing on you physically, but will use your brain and your skill set and your experience to its fullest value. So let's talk about finances, okay? Whenever you get your first job is the day you start putting away for your retirement. I don't care if you put away 10 cents, $10, or $100. You open up whatever your employer offers you. I prefer anything that lowers my tax rate, so anything that is pre-tax, I like to put my money into that. But no matter how small or how big you start putting in, you put it in from your first paycheck and you never touch it. That does not become the fund for anything else. That becomes the fund for you. So you have essentially 40 years to plan for your retirement, give or take, and that will be at a part-time, full-time level if you're growing a family. So every dollar matters, okay? So you want to make sure that you're periodically taking a look at how much you're squirreling away for your retirement every time you go up a notch in salary, and you want to make sure you're taking full advantage of that. I like to do the things that have the withdrawals taken right out of my paycheck, because if I don't see it, then I don't feel it. You know, if I see it and I've got to rely on my own self-discipline to put the money away, well, I'm not always that disciplined. So I like to have everything taken out of my paycheck. This way I know exactly the money that I'm working with for that particular pay period, and I can plan accordingly. You want to be disciplined about these things, and you want to be able to diversify. Don't put everything in a 401k basket, so to speak, which means that you're going to have to talk to a financial planner somewhere along the line. Now, whether that financial planner is part of your union or your collective bargaining group, or that financial planner is part of the services offered by your organization, or you have a private one, you do want to be able to diversify so that you have monies in a lot of different places working for you. Okay, and then you want to make sure that you can keep some money fluid, which means that you have to access those monies without any kind of penalties, just in case of real emergencies. Okay, so please make sure that you have those conversations early, and again, from your first paycheck. I don't care if you put a quarter away, put it away and don't touch it until you're going to need it later on. Now, with your health, you really want to get your arms around any chronic health issues early, okay? So that you don't want to be in a set of denial. You want to make sure if you have hypertension, you're going to do the right thing about your hypertension. If your, A1C is going up and you're circling the drain of diabetes there a little bit, you want to take that seriously. If you're becoming arthritic, you want to also make sure that, you're doing what you need to do to be able to stay functional. So please take your health seriously, because it is the one thing that will make or break, one of the key things that will make or break your retirement years. Being at maximum health and being at maximum function means that you are going to have the maximum enjoyment of those golden years. So anything chronic, get your arms around it early and be diligent. All right, you want to commit to doing all of your screening exams, whether it's a mammography, a colonoscopy, any kind of screening exams that are age appropriate or personal health information appropriate for you. Make sure you do them, and you do them when your doctor says it's time to do those. I jokingly say to everybody, get your replacement parts early. So get your cataracts attended to early. If you need a joint replacement, get a joint replacement early enough to be able to enjoy it while you're still active and see how things go. Now, you may have to lose some weight before you get a hip or a knee replaced. Do the right thing and do that for yourself, but get your replacement parts early so that you're young enough to enjoy the mobility and the pain-free life that comes with those things. Okay, and eat well. Okay, eat well. Eat good food, lots of good food, all right, that is healthy for you. Just watch your carbs and watch your calories, and use good sense. I know they didn't teach us an awful lot about nutrition when we were in school, but that doesn't mean that we can't pick up good eating habits and good things along the way. You want to exercise moderately, all right. If some people are more gifted in that way, that's wonderful. That's not me. I have a moderate exercise plan. I'm taking more stairs now than ever. I'm doing more work than ever. And I actually work out once a week with a trainer. So I am taking these things seriously, again, because the whole idea is to stay functional. After 60, going back to getting a body of a 4-year-old is not happening, okay? So the key is that function is going to be everything. So again, health and function. You may have some chronic illnesses that you're dealing with, but if you have them under control and you're still functioning so that you can drive, you can vacation, you can live independently, these are all things that when put together really spell a wonderful retirement life for yourself. And then start preparing to age in place. So I've started to prepare to age in place, which means I have fully transitioned to online banking. I have fully transitioned to shopping online as well. Now, I use several food services, but I like the food services that give me more variety and delivery time. So I prefer to go with food services that will deliver, well, right now anyway, will deliver my groceries between 6 and 8 a.m. so that my groceries are delivered before I go to work, or 8 and 10 a.m. so that my groceries are delivered before I go to bed. That works for me, but obviously they have a lot of variety. So I am Amazon Prime's best gal. I don't know how they're making money on me because I order multiple things daily. I also do a lot of QVC and HSN, and of course, you know, any of the major stores, I do a lot of online shopping that way. And I've gotten to the point where I've gotten so good at it that I'm usually, you know, very rarely am I returning anything. So I am trying to also get ready for telemedicine. Telemedicine will be coming, so that, you know, I want to keep my laptop up to date, and I want to keep my my PC up to date, so that when telemedicine happens, I'm going to be able to communicate with my healthcare professional safely. So now let's talk about Medicare and Social Security. You will get a notice about just a little bit before your 65th birthday. So usually 3 to 4 months prior to your 65th birthday, you're going to get a notice that you are going to be enrolled in Medicare Part A. That happens automatically when you turn 65. I found the whole Medicare website and the Social Security website terribly complex and really difficult to navigate. So I actually made an appointment with Social Security and went down and spoke to a person face to face, and they helped me sign up for whatever I needed to sign up for. And then I knew it was done, and I knew it was done correctly. So I now have a Medicare Part A card. Okay, with your Social Security, for my age group, I can take my Social Security early at 62. I get full value of my Social Security at 66. So at 66, if I choose to take Social Security, that's when I would get the full value. Every financial planner I have talked to says stay in Social Security for as long as you possibly can. So my intention is to keep full-time employment until age 70 so that I can max out my Social Security before I start to take a Social Security benefit. There's a couple of things you need to know about that, okay? So right now in my age group, you have to be 66 in order to take Social Security without it being prorated. There's an age group right behind me that I believe is 67. If you are younger and you're listening to this, you need to probably plan that you're not going to be able to access your Social Security till 68. And I think that's just part and parcel of trying to keep the whole program healthy because of all the baby boomers that are starting to retire. That said, you want to make sure that you understand how Social Security is determined. So to the best of my understanding from the people I have spoken to, your Social Security is based on your last 10 years of employment. Your last 10 years of employment, whatever your salary was, it's averaged out, and then it goes in and there's some kind of algorithm, but it's based on your last 10 years of employment. The reason I'm saying this, because if you decide that you're not going to retire at age 65, let's say, then you want to be careful about, are you going to work full-time or part-time? Because you could have a very nice 10-year average of your employment, and if you then go part-time without taking your Social Security, you might actually water down that number. So again, you're going to speak to a financial planner to make sure that the information I'm giving you is spot on for you. But it may, if you've decided that you want to go part-time, it may be more financially advisable for you to take your Social Security at 65, 66, 67, whenever you're able to take it, and then go part-time so that you don't water out that main chunk of your benefit. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Life insurance. Well, do you really need it? Okay, so life insurance is usually something that you have because you're planning for, possibly, having, to raise your kids either, as a single parent, or, you want to make sure if your children are on their own, they have enough to at least get through school with. But if your children are up and running, and pretty much school is behind them, and everybody's pretty much on their own, the question becomes, do you need that life insurance? So when you do retire, Do you want to invest in life insurance, or at least at the same amount of money that you had equal to what you were carrying when you were working full-time? That again is something you want to discuss between yourself and your spouse, your partner, and just do your own research on. I personally think that, life insurance is a good thing, but for me, it's a good thing for what I would call expenses after I'm gone. All right, so if I know I have a credit card that could be outstanding, if I know I haven't planned for my funeral, if I know that there's a couple of other things going on, then maybe I would take out a policy commensurate with being able to cover those afterlife expenses for my family, so that they don't have to wait for the estate to be probated in order to do that. So again, that's something you want to take a good look at. Just keep in mind that most companies now, even though you might be working 20, 30 years for a company, when you turn 65, your life insurance benefits might be reduced. Just keep that in mind and ask your HR people about that. Okay, I think AARP is probably the most reputable people to go to with questions, and I think they're also the most reputable people to go to with any kind of insurance issues or insurance products that you may want to purchase. But I wouldn't just blindly go to AARP. I would certainly do your homework as well. So some important documents. You absolutely need a will. Please, if you don't have a will now, and especially if you have children and you own anything, you definitely want to have a will. Okay, that's number one. Who are you going to put in your will? Well, that's really up to you. I mean, if you have children, and a spouse, you may want to provide for your children and a spouse. If you have grandchildren or little ones that are in your family that you want to provide for, my choice was to not name them in my will as such, but to already provide for them and make donations and contributions to their education funds. So that's done. So I think because I wanted that to be able to grow over the years. So again, when you're talking with financial planners, you get to understand a little bit about options. You need to name a power of attorney. You need someone to also be a signature on your bank account and your safety deposit box, so that God forbid something happens for you and you can't get to your account, that someone else can get to your account and pay your bills or pay your mortgage or do things or get important papers out of the safety deposit box. You certainly need a healthcare proxy and a MOLST, all right, which is your medical orders for life-sustaining treatment. And you want to name someone to those things that is going to carry out your will. If they are on the fence or have questions about your last wishes for yourself and your self-determination, don't pick them. You want to be able to peacefully know that the people that you name in these important functions and roles in your life are absolutely going to carry out your wishes, and you want to have that all-important communication with them, so there's no second guessing. And you want to have that all-important communication with your family and friends, so that they don't benevolently interfere in things that are not theirs. Everybody wants to put their 2 cents in and undermine the resolve and the resilience of the person trying to do the right thing on behalf of the person they said they would be their healthcare proxy. You really want to have communication so everybody's clear about what you want, and more importantly, what you don't want. Okay, so I have chosen to start prepaying for a funeral. And I'm going to be cremated, and I'd like to be buried at sea. I don't need to purchase a plot or a cemetery plot or a memorial, whatever, for an urn or anything like that. The average cost of funerals vary by what you want, but I can share with you that when my dad passed a few years ago, we did have a plot, a family plot there, so we didn't have to make that purchase, but it cost $12,000 in funeral costs to bury my dad. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So I decided to go ahead and start prepaying that. And you can simply walk into a funeral home and start doing that. And it has to be honored. And the money is held in escrow. And at least, it offsets the cost. If I don't get a chance to pay it all before I pass, then I will have paid some. And that'll be one less thing that my family has to worry about. And I've had a complete discussion with the funeral planner about what I want and what I don't want, right down to what kind of flowers I want. So my family will know exactly what they need to do, and it's one less detail that they have to take care of at a time when they don't want to think about those things. So the point here is that it's never too early to start planning, okay? So if you're 20-something, at least start planning financially. If you're 30-something, Make sure you have some planning in place for the strategy of your career. If you're 40-something, well, you've watched this video and you're starting to get the message. And really, my share is because you are wonderful people and you have given everything to taking care of other souls on this planet. And I don't want you to neglect preparing for yourself, so that when it's time for you to really enjoy the fruits of all your hard work and all of your contribution to the people on this planet, that you can actually enjoy them in comfort, in peace, and in health. God bless.